Hey everybody, this video is going to serve as the week 3 Q&A. Didn't have a lot of questions, but I did have a request of pulling cards, kind of showing you how it works to do a reading. And I already made an extra video this week about yes and no cards, and so I thought what might be better instead of doing a live is that I just do a recorded reading for you where I pull cards, kind of talk of any of the major cards that come out, and also a reading for the collective. So it could be that this reading is for you or somebody who watches this, so you may get a message from Spirit. I hope that you're enjoying the course. One thing I do want to say, and I hate that I'm not on camera, I'll lay a few cards, but that's a really good card for what I'm talking about. One thing that I do want to say is that I don't want people to get discouraged if you are behind in the course. You know, the first week, I think out of the 18 people that are taking the course, we had 15 that did the quiz, and I think the next week it was 8. And so far this week it was 5. This always happens. I told you in the beginning it would happen because why? Life gets in the way. This is a very fast-paced course and things go really, really quickly. And it's so easy for your time to get stolen by everything that's going on in life. We live in such a fast-paced world. And a lot of times what happens is, this card is representative here, we start to get demoralized. Right? Our emotions, shame, messages come to us and say, man, I didn't do it. I can't keep up. I'm not good at this. I can't remember the cards. Yes, you can. This is a community. And not next week, but the next week, we will have a review. So we'll have a whole week that there's no new content. Now, I do give you like some review materials as far as just a cheat sheet to study, but you can review the entire, everything we have learned up until this point, and you'll be caught up. So jump in now, study what you can, and just know that the first 22 cards that we've learned, we're not even, we're about a fourth of the way through. We will be at that point. You still have time to do this. So don't feel discouraged that, man, I can't do this. I'm not going to be able to catch up. Yes, you can. So there's that. That's the reading for the collective. Now, I hope some of the major cards that we learned this week come out. I probably should have went through my deck and just pulled those, but I wanted the reading to be realistic and not just like me pulling the cards. So I don't want to do that. But let's do a 3-card past, present, future. Let's do a 3-card past, present, and future. You got the 10 of Cups. Three of Swords in reverse. The only way we like to see that card. And the 10 of Swords in reverse. This is a really good reading to teach about reversals. Even though every card here is a minor card and not one of the cards that we have learned yet, we do have the, we know the numbers for these. So let's just focus on numbers. Let's start with what I put in the middle as the present. And really and truly, these could probably be swapped just from my intuition, just from what Spirit's telling me, but I'll leave it as it fell. Well, let's talk about 10. What is 10? 10 is the number of completion, right? And when we're dealing with cups, you'll learn this more in future. Cups has to do with emotion and happiness. One way that you can read a card, especially if you're relying on your intuition, y'all don't know any of these cards yet, but you can look at this and see okay, well, I know that 10 is completion, right? Okay, well, completion of what? Well, what do we have here? We have a family. So completion of family. Now let's look at this one. This is 3 of Swords. I said we only want to see this card in reverse. I know it's in reverse because the numbers are on the bottom. So it fell upside down. What does this look like? You see a heart, it's been stabbed 3 times. So this is the card of betrayal and heartbreak. Interestingly, this is also a card of betrayal, but it is the number 10. Okay, so we have 2 10s and we have a 3. So 3 of swords in reverse, it's the opposite meaning as the upright. So everything that had to do with the heartbreak in the past, because this is in past position, is now going to be removed. Okay. Now look at this one. This is 10 of swords. So 10 of swords, again, we're talking about completion. Completion of what? Okay. You know completion, you know ending, but you don't know what. Well, when we look at this card, I'm going to give you a second to think about it. What do you see? See a man dead. Blood's running out of him. He has a red robe on. And what does he have inside of him? Well, he's got 10 swords sticking out. So this card, when it's upright, 10 of swords, is intense and dramatic turn of fate. It is an unexpected betrayal. It's the ending of a close relationship. It's something sudden that happens. In the major arcana, this would be very akin to the death card. This is the minor version. Now, what's the difference between the minor and the major? Well, this is not something that's going to be long lasting in your life. Minor cards just come for a moment and their energies are moved. Majors are huge themes, so there's a little bit of a difference there. This card also means the past is over. It's like a meaning of this card that I just know, that the past is over. And it usually tells us that you need to fully process an ending. Okay, you need to let something go. Don't dwell on it, but you need to process it. You need to finally release it. When it's in reverse, for this meaning, it's not an opposite like this one. It's a sliding scale. So if the upright is bad, okay, the reverse in this one's worse. So it's like a sunburn that's like a 2 versus a sunburn that's like a 9. Okay, it's like in pain level, right? When it's in reverse, you feel like the whole world is against you. That you've been wronged and you just cannot let the situation go. That you're feeling like super low, you're emotionally stuck, and you're just dwelling. Now, how would I now knowing all of that I know, it also can represent nightmares. How would I put this together for a person with past, present, future? Okay. And I'm just thinking literal without spirit, asking spirit for guidance, which is a whole nother thing that I'm going to create a course on honing in your psychic abilities. But if we're just literally just doing the cards and we're not trying to hone in on spirit messages, this person in the present can have happiness. It's not something that you have to wait on. It is not something that you have to wait on. Your happily ever after is ready right now. You're either actively living in it or it's available to you from spirit. But you've got to let go and move on. You've got to move on. Whatever this thing was that hurt you, the trauma, the grief, the terrible thing, the betrayal, yes, it was horrible. Yes, they were terrible. Yes, they did a horrible thing. But if you keep on the path that you're on right now, you are going to be held back and you are going to be tied down by this forever. It is not punishing them. It is only punishing you. This is something you have got to release. Because everybody else in this situation has moved on with their life in some way. And I'm getting a feeling from spirit, some of the people, somebody may have even passed and went to the other side. And you can't let go of everything that happened. So there's how I would read that. All right, let's try some more. And if you are watching this video back and you'd like to ask me a question and you want me to pull a couple of cards for you, ask in the comments. Oh, we know him well. We finally... It is the Hangman in reverse for my present. Past, the Soulmate card, Two of Cups. And the future, the Moon. So here we have two major cards and we have one minor card. So there's two ways to read this. I'm going to tell you how I would read it if I was looking at cards only. And then I'll tell you, as with psychic intuition, the way this is coming out. So if you're hearing this message and this is your message, I pulled three cards. We have past, present, future. This is the Hangman in reverse. The Hangman energy is a major card, and so it comes along with a lot of big themes for your life. This is not just a one-time event that's happening. This is something that is a part of a major trajectory, a major lesson in your life, and it's not something that you can avoid. Upright, the Hangman is calling us to see things from a new perspective, right? And in reverse, he really talks about the way you perceive yourself, right? An imbalance in the way that you see yourself. It can also kind of talk about the ego, you know, getting so wrapped up in everything that we have going on that we can't see a situation for what it truly is. And kind of looking back on a past relationship, which was a soulmate relationship with rose-colored glasses. And so you're looking back on this situation and you're only seeing it for what you thought it was. This wonderful greatness, this forever connection. And there is still, in the present and the future, so much emotion tied up in this. But there's deception there as well. The Moon card is all about emotion, and the word deception keeps coming up. Usually that would come up in reverse, but it's still the message that I'm getting. And this reading is all about somebody who's looking back on this relationship and your memory has tricked you. What you thought it wasn't. We do this a lot of times with past relationships, and we have these memories and these way of thinking about things, and we think, well, if I just would have done this, if I just would have done this, if I would have done this, then it wouldn't have happened that way. But Spirit says it's just keeping you stuck. Kind of like the last reading that I just touched on. It's time to move on. Also, when I talked about the psychic kind of thing that I'm picking up on here that really isn't in the cards, but Spirit's just telling me, has to do with past life. So this is not only past this time, but this is a past life relationship that has lasted for many, many years, many lifetimes. And this card right here, the Moon, can represent somebody being anxious or worried or feeling helpless, that you're scared of being manipulated again because you've been manipulated in past relationships. And in some relationships, you may have even switched into the manipulator. The abused became the abuser. And you're scared that the wool is being pulled over your eyes, that one day all of a sudden you're just going to be tricked and, this person's going to pull. That is your perception. That is keeping you trapped. This person has been your practice partner in many different lifetimes because there's things that you're supposed to learn from them. But you have to allow yourself to experience. If you're so caught up in anxiety and worry and not allowing yourself to learn these lessons, and that's what your future is going to hold. More anxiety, more worry, more deception. It's literally a manifestation that you're creating. So what would I recommend for a person I was doing a reading for? Well, the Hangman says to release. Tap into your third eye. Do third eye meditations. This one would be heart chakra meditations. And I would suggest probably a full moon ritual to release that. All right, I'll do one more, and then I'll leave it open for people if you want to ask me questions, and I'll pull a few cards for you. And I'll can post in the comments. Mr. Narcissist himself. Mr. Knight of Wands. Oh, it's funny. I knew this card was going to come up. I looked behind me, and I have another deck that's sitting behind me, and there's one card that was removed from it, and it was this one. It was this one. So, when I took a peek at it a few minutes ago, I thought, oh, that might come up. Okay. None of our big cards from this time, but you can still use your numbers, okay? And you're going to learn all about these guys in upcoming lessons. They are the hardest to read, so I won't go too much into that right now. But these court cards, we call them, all have personalities. And Mr. Knight of Wands in reverse is a narcissist, or somebody who has kind of the psychopathic tendencies or toxic tendencies. And he can also represent us. I hate to have to break it to you, but probably in this reading, just from what I'm feeling, there'd be one of two ways to interpret this. I'll tell you what the cards say, and then I'll tell you the way I'm interpreting it with my gift. Number one, you could say that this represents somebody else, right? That was my first initial thought, that this is somebody presently in your life that wants to stop you from having opportunities. Remember, 8 is work. And these wands are opportunities that are coming forward to you. They actually were launched in your past. They were something that you prayed for. You've asked for these things over and over and over and over again. And you put it out there with spirit. You wanted them. God knows you want it. But something is stopping you in the present. Somebody is blocking that blessing. Well, if we look at this is a 5. 5s represent change and conflict and struggle. Remember that. So if you see this card, I'm going to give you a minute to look at it. What do you see there? Well, I see a guy that's holding some swords. He's looking back. Maybe you think he feels, I don't know. Sometimes I think he looks back and feels regret. Sometimes I think he looks back and feels proud. But either way, there are 2 swords lying on the ground. You've got somebody crying by the water, and you've got somebody with his back turned, and the sky is gray. Well, this card, 5 of Swords, is a battle that could never have been won. No matter how much you look back on it with regret, or I wish I could have, I should have, could have. I mean, how many times do we have those types of wishes and regrets, right? Really and truly, it was something that had to happen. It was a change that had to happen. Because it was a time to shed new skin and prepare for new growth. And because this is in the future, this tells me that this is still coming, and that you have the chance to leave something behind and move on. You do not need to linger on what you've lost, right? You have to look at what is ahead. If it's a friendship that's not serving you, this relationship that's not serving you, that's blocking your blessings, maybe you're sad about leaving, a former partner, or you don't want to move, or you don't want to leave a job, or whatever it is you're holding on to. Spirit says you have to let go because this change is imminent. Now, most of the time I would read this as somebody else, but Spirit's actually saying this reading is for somebody that's listening, and it's you. You're the Knight. You are not purposefully, subconsciously self-sabotaging your manifestations. These things have been put out there and they are ready to be delivered. It's Spirit showed me it's almost like you ordered this big Amazon package, but you requested a signature and you refused to answer the door. Maybe there's fear there. Maybe I don't know what the reason behind it is, but you're the only person that can do it. Let me pull a card clarifying. Okay, this is love. This card, Ace of Cups, represents love, new beginnings, pregnancy, self-love, self-growth, new beginnings. Maybe you're just scared of the new beginning. You're scared of letting love in, Spirit said, letting somebody see you fully. And that doesn't just have to be romantic, even yourself. It can be scary to let yourself see yourself fully. But you're the knight. So as you can see, this is how we have kind of like a mixture, right? Of our knowing the card meanings, interpreting through the numbers, but then also letting the gift come from Spirit. I'm going to pull one final card for the collective and just do a message. It's another knight. He is the Knight of Pentacles. He's related to stability and money and everything security based, everything physical based. He's connected to Capricorn. He's connected to Virgo. He's connected to Taurus. And the message that is coming from Spirit for somebody who's listening is that you've been waiting for money or a blessing or a way to go from point A to point B. And that will come to you in Virgo season. So around August or September is when these things are going to shift. Maybe you need more clients. Maybe you need a break in your business. Or maybe you just need a bill paid. But Spirit says it is coming. But it's going to take, we got to get through Leo season and then into Virgo season. So not too long, right? End of August, 1st of September, there is that financial movement that's going to happen. If anybody has questions that I didn't answer about the cards this week, or you watch this later and you have a question for me, I would be happy to answer it in the comments. I don't mind going back. Also, if you didn't get through weeks 1 and 2 and 3, you can still go back and take those tests. Okay? Just because the time passed doesn't mean that you can't go and do it. If anybody has any questions for me, drop them in the comments, and I will be posting next week's materials today.